what's shaking AC?
Oh, not much. I'm so excited to rant today.
Yes, me too, because I have a very pertinent question for you.
Ooh, I like pertinent questions.
Yeah,
Hit me.
it comes from Keanu Reeves. For anyone who knows Keanu Reeves, he's a Canadian actor. You know, he was in The Matrix, the main character Neo. He's
Mhm.
John Wick. So I was thinking about this franchisee coaching that we do, right? Right now we have a fractional coach, right? It's a third party that comes in and helps coach our franchisees. But at a certain point, once we have enough franchisees, we're going to have to bring the coaching in-house, right? And sometimes when you've got an in-house coach, your franchisees may just think that's just another member of the head office team pushing the propaganda, pushing the agenda, and there may be a lack of credibility. And so I was
Mm-hmm.
thinking, how could they build credibility? And the first person that came to mind was Keanu Reeves, because he's just such a badass in all of his movies, right? But he's such a sweet guy in real life. So we're going to tag him in this video so he can help us get some exposure.
I'm pretty sure he's on LinkedIn, I would think.
Well, I find that most of his credibility comes from just stoicism and not saying very much. He just pulls out his guns and just shoots, you know?
Yeah,
And
I
I'm like,
don't think that's going to be what people should do in franchising. Is that what you're getting at?
I was like, yeah, should our coaches be talking less?
Yeah. Okay. So your question, just to summarize, is
Should I hire Keanu Reeves?
okay. Okay. I'll tell you what I think your question also is.
Okay.
Is how do I who do you hire so that they have credibility with franchisees?
Yes.
Okay, that's pretty good. Okay. Well, you know what? We get this question all the time at AC Inc., as you probably maybe even have heard. Maybe no, maybe not. Maybe you haven't heard it, otherwise you wouldn't be asking me right now. But yeah, we get this question where people say, how do I, well, and this actually kind of stems from the question about franchisees in the field, that one of the benefits is that people are like they have the built-in credibility of having run that business, but there's all kinds of challenges with it as well that need to be addressed. So okay, if we don't want to use franchisees in the field, or we don't really recommend it as a first option, how do you put somebody in that role that has credibility? And you're talking to somebody who lived and breathed this like pretty hardcore. When you've heard this a gazillion times, but when I was 20 years old and I was in the field, people knew that I knew the brand, and I was like confident, I could come in and I could like get behind the counter and I can sell and I can teach you about the products and I can stock the freezer. But yeah, what do you know about business, especially you 20-year-old female boss's daughter? So yes, this is a really big concern for a lot of franchisors when they're figuring out putting people in the field. And by in the field, just to clarify, we're talking like that could be coaching a franchisee on Zoom calls and things like that too, right? Not necessarily going out into the field or a field, right?
There's a cookie place called Mrs. Fields.
Is that all you can think about right now is
Yeah,
cookies
and just
now?
talking about Fields, I need cookies.
Yeah, I can see how that's really related. Okay, but yeah, I have heard of that business. So okay, well, I love this question because it comes up at our field coach roundtables, which you don't get to go to because you're a franchisor. It's only for people that are quote unquote in the field, because we want them to have a place to come together and learn from each other and not feel worried about what other people will think. We want them to be able to share their challenges. And so I would suggest that rather than worry about getting somebody that has been a franchisee, you think about how you can coach and train them to do certain things. And I think for me, when I was in the field as this 20-year-old female boss's daughter, getting darts thrown at me and stuff like that, probably the number one thing I did, well, there's kind of two. Number one and two, working hard went a long way. Showing them that I was willing to work hard. I'm like, I'll get in there and I'll work behind the counter in your store. I'll go in your freezer. I'll sit down with you and work, early in the morning or late at night, help you with your ordering, your schedule, whatever you need. But I'm willing to work hard. That was a big thing. And then another thing was being clear and admitting that I didn't know everything and I wasn't going to pretend I did. I found that when I was a franchisee, after being in the field, that when people would come into my store and they were trying to have established credibility, But I think they knew, like, I'm coming into the store and this person is like, grew up with this brand. What am I going to be able to teach them? They would come in and they would often revert to like sort of authoritative, compliance management. And so they didn't know what to do. Well, if they would have admitted to me like, hey, I know that I'm not going to know more than you, but like, let's work through how I can be helpful to you. If they would have said that to me, they would have won me over like right away. So I have more to say, but I'll pause there because I just
because when I think about if somebody was coaching me on anything, let's say it's how to play basketball, but let's say in the framework of franchising, I'd be thinking, do they know my business, right?
Yeah. Yes, that is the big thing.
But the thing is, it's not that big of a thing because technically my floor staff know the business. They could totally run it without a manager there.
Right.
Doesn't mean that they'd be good coaching. So the next thing that comes to me is, do they know business, period? Well,
Right.
You've got a lot of people that know business, but don't know how to execute on it and make it work, So then the next thing comes up, all right, do they know business and know my business? Well, this is where you have the internal coach. So at that point, if they know business and they know your business, they should be franchisees. It's going to be lucrative depending on your system, right? To do that. So maybe you're thinking about what's your history? Do you have a track record of actually making impact? Not just ideas. There's a lot of people out there that say, I'm a consultant, I can give you ideas. Do your ideas work?
Yeah. And have you ever acted on them? So yeah, you just solved your own issue right there. You just like, I saw you go through it. It was really cool. Like you went
hashtag winning.
Yeah. Okay. We're like, we could be done this rant right now, except for I have a couple more things I want to add in here, hopefully valuable to our audience.
Okay. I'll go eat a cookie.
Yeah, you go get a Mr. Fields cookie and I'll just talk by myself here. Okay. So I love what you said about, when I said it's a big thing when what I meant is franchisees think it is like that. It's big to the franchisee in their mind that, well, if you don't know my business, you can't help me. But you're right, it isn't, because we don't need to know their business. We know the common, the foundational things that need, like as in coaches, when we're the coach person in the field, that person needs to know things like, how do you do marketing? How do you do, financials? How do you do like good leadership and things like that? So it's pretty standardized. And then here's the thing though, as the field coach, you can say, okay, I have this skill set, you have that, let's bring it together. And I want to try to understand your business so I can figure out how we can apply what I'm bringing in for you from, these other areas of business that we can see how that transfers. So I wanted to just highlight that I think just get out ahead of it with the franchisee and say, okay, I've never done your business the way you have. I want to acknowledge that. But at the same time, I'm going to learn from you. And I'm hoping that you're going to be able to learn from me the things that I can bring to this. So key point there is acknowledging it. And I think everyone should do that when they first start a coaching relationship with franchisees, that like, okay, I'm here to learn from you just as much as I'm hoping you will learn from me. One other thing that I've heard works really well, because again, our field coaches on the field coach roundtable have said, like, I can't get this franchisee on a call. Like they just don't think they need me. Well, if you can, start with the like, hey, can we get on a call so I can learn from you? Like first stroke their ego a bit. And then in that call, when you finally do hopefully break through that they'll get on that call with you or you see them in person or whatever, try to find one little area that you can help them, one little nugget. Don't try to go in and like change their business, but like, is there a cost that you can catch that maybe if you help them save some money, or is there something you can see in their business that you can give them a little tip, but you've got to do it strategically, even if it means that you make them think they came up with it so that they feel like they had a positive interaction with you. So it's winning them over little bits at a time. The next thing you know, they won't stop calling. If you don't want that though. How's that? Helpful?
That's wonderful.
All you can think about is cookies.
Yeah, I need cookies. Or however the Cookie Monster sounds. All right, let's wrap it up.
Okay.
Okay.
Three, two,
1.
One.
Go be
Go
awesome.
be awesome.